Hey everybody, welcome to another video fishing report from me, Paul Johnson, here at Riverbend Resort. And what I want to do is start off by asking who has looked at a map, seen Lake of the Woods, and felt intimidated by the size of this body of water. Show of hands. It's pretty easy to do, but what I want to show you today is how easy it is to find other locations to put your boat in if you're bringing your own boat up, to access the points of where the fish have been biting lately. So Riverbend Resort, located right on Rainy River here, just before Wheeler's Point. And of course we have the Wheeler's Point access. Rainy River goes into 4 Mile Bay. We have Lighthouse Gap and we have Morris Point Gap. You know, those two gaps that you could enter Lake of the Woods from the Rainy River. Great launch point, great place to start. You have access to the river. There's bass fishing, pike fishing. Sturgeon will be opening up here very shortly on July 1st. So it's a really great access to this start of this fishery. But then you get up into the big basin, the big Traverse Bay on Lake of the Woods, and it can feel intimidating, especially if you get a north wind. You know, it kind of puts you at that point where the wind is traveling right down that lake and pushing right towards Pine Island and into the gap, and you can get some pretty big waves there. Now, if you're on a charter boat, the charter boats are built to withstand those types of waves. Of course, there are waves that we really don't want to tackle, but most of the time there are ways that we can get out of that wind. And the charters a lot of time will take what we call the Canadian bypass, where they can sneak up behind some of the Canadian islands and get to the little Traverse Bay up on the north end and fish up in the islands to get out of that wind and still have good fishing. And of course, showing you with our little walleye icons that Brandy made us, you know, they have been fishing up there and they are producing fish. To start there, you know, east of Hay, up along Little Oak, northeast corner of Little Oak, they've been jigging, vertically jigging with jig tipped with a minnow. They've actually started transitioning now to pulling spinners with crawler harnesses. And that's that 2 to 3 hook crawler harness where you can attach that crawler, you know, all the way down and have more bite points for when that fish strikes and bites, you're gonna get that hook set. So they've been doing that transition, east bar of garden, west bar of garden, up along in the shallow water. 6 to 18 feet of water has kind of been the key points up there as well. So now let's drop back to the south end. Let's say you brought your own boat up and you're gonna go fishing for the day, but we got a really hard north blow. We have had a lot of wind this spring. We're only a couple days away from the first day of summer, and hopefully that wind pattern changes a little bit. But we've had a lot of wind this spring. That doesn't have to stop you from fishing this amazing fishery, this walleye capital we call Lake of the Woods. And what I want to do is just kind of show you some of them access points. So starting off where we're located, right by Wheeler's Point, there is the public access at Wheeler's Point. Again, if you're staying with us at the resort, not even a couple blocks down the road, you can put your boat in and launch from the Rainy River 4 Mile Bay into Lake of the Woods. But let's say we have a really hard northwest wind that's just blowing in, or even a real strong, you know, west wind that's coming across. It does make it kind of tough to travel out this way. But again, you can solve that in a couple different ways. There are other access points around the lake that will allow you to bring your boat, if it's on the trailer, to those access points, put your boat in there and start in areas where there is no wind and fish are biting. Those points can be over by Morris Point Gap, Morris Point Resort. We have Zippel Bay State Park. We have Zippel Bay Resort. We can go all the way up to Long Point. So when you have these west winds and you have these northwest winds, you can get down in the corner down in here and fish these areas. And that's what we did this last Saturday. We went out, we taped a show with Midwest Outdoors. The wind was blowing pretty hard from the southwest that day, actually, but anything out in this region here was pretty wavy, pretty windy, and kind of hard to hold in the small boat. But we went out of Zippel Bay State Park, we went through Zippel Bay, we popped out through the jetty, and we were fishing immediately outside of that jetty in anywhere from 6 to 12 feet of water that day. Drifting spinners, and the fish were very active. Shallower water, warmer temperatures, the fish were very active and they were feeding. And this whole shoreline right now is holding a lot of fish in that 6 all the way out to 18 feet of water, and pulling those spinners with the crawlers on there was working amazingly. The fish are really active, they're grabbing, they're biting, and they're on. And all you gotta do is reel them in. Now, let's just say the wind's not blowing and we're having an actual normal day, or it's a south wind. That gives us those access points to fish on the north side of Pine Island again. So now we can travel through the Rainy River, 4 Mile Bay, go out through Lighthouse Gap. And this same hole, the same shoreline structure on Pine Island is producing them same fish in those depths from 6 all the way out to 18 feet of water, pulling spinners with a crawler harness. Some of the colors that worked best this last week were hammered gold, silver, 5 of diamonds, we call it. Greg referenced it as a 5 of diamonds. It's yellow with the red diamonds on them. I'm sure you've seen it. But you know, those flashy colors for bright days and those flashy colors for dull days, just keep trying, see what works best, see what they're responding to. So right now with the marker here is fish all along the north side of Pine, all along Lighthouse or Morris Point Gap, over into the corner towards Grayston, and then all the way up this shoreline towards Long Point. There is a lot of fish up in that area right now. Now, if you prefer anchoring up and jigging, just a 3/8 ounce jig, gold, pink, red, orange, yellow, green. Get down, see what they're biting on. You never know, but the go-to colors are always gold and pink up here. Use any color you want, as long as there's some gold on it. It's kind of what we like to joke about and say, but they're traveling out in that 18 to 33 foot range in here. I'm sorry, right out in here. Just anchoring up, finding those pods of fish. They're coming through. Fish are always moving. They don't stay in one spot. So if you like to anchor up and jig and you're patient, those fish do come through. You will get them. You'll have flurries of great fish and big fish. A lot of the slot fish and even the over 28 size walleyes are starting to bite as well. So a little bit to look at, but when you look at the lake, don't be intimidated. There are other access points if you're bringing your own boat up. If you don't want to bring your own boat up, we have charters available. These boats are built to withstand the rougher waters. Our captains are experienced in handling these rougher waters. There are other routes that can be taken to get out of that and get up into those fishing areas. We call it the Canadian bypass as well. So come up, fish, many ways to fish. Jump on a charter boat with our experienced captains. Bring your own boat up, utilize these other access points around the lake for a day of fishing to get out of that wind and get on some really great action. If you don't have a boat and you don't want to jump on a charter, we are working with Escape Boat Rentals just up the river from us, located at Rainy River Marina. They have 3 fishing boats that are set up and ready to go. They have 3 pontoons that are also built for fishing and or leisure cruising. You know, you have options. We will provide those options for you in whatever level of fishing that you want to tackle Lake of the Woods with. I want to say thank you guys for joining us again for this video fishing report. And we look forward to doing more and at least helping you understand if you've never fished the lake, or just even give you some more insight on how to fish the lake when we do get different weather conditions. Thanks, you guys. We look forward to seeing you up here. Have a great day.